Here I come. Here I am. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness. All right. Where am I? Oh yeah. Hi. Oh, who's here? Diane. Diane. Good morning. Oh. So I was a little unsure of where we were going to go this week, and then I'm in the Punch. You guys remember Punch? Where'd it go? Where's my book? What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. You guys remember Punch, right? It's the um it's the digitizing for embroidery design book by Bonnie Nielsen. Um, well, there's a group now for Punch, and I posted a question asking because the first chapter uh, refers to software. You know how to pick the right software. So I posted a question. How did you get started? What was your software? So I thought maybe and I posted a short little clip about, my software history. And then I thought, let's let's go a little deeper with that. So I started digging, and oh my God, I've been doing this for a really long time. How long have I been doing this? Hold on, I have a note. Oh yeah, 26 years. Did I do the math right? 2009? 2009. Now I want to go do the math, make sure I got the math right, because I don't do math anymore. Oh, let's see. 2025 minus 2009. Oh my God, scared myself. It's only 16 years. 16 years, but 16 years is still an accomplishment. Yes, Barb, I agree. Um, Barb's in the house. She's saying that Punch is such a really good. Thank you, Frank. Evidently I had a brain injury like a dozen, well, many many years ago. Again, I'll probably get that one wrong too, and I can't seem to do math anymore. So I'm pretty calculator dependent. So anyway, 16 years, and I thought maybe we should go into. Hey, Gail, Gail's here. Gail's here. Frank, I guess. Yeah, hello, Frank. Um, so I thought maybe I should go into a little more detail about the software I've used, and maybe it's the same, maybe it's software you can use. So here, let me bring this up. This is what started my software journey. I used to do a lot of quilting. Oh, Desiree, you're here. Oh my good. Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Tell Rick I said hello. Um, this is the piece that started my journey. Where am I? Am I not here? There I am. There I am. I used to do quilts. I used to make quilts for St. Jude's and a couple of local quilt competitions. And this quilt was being made for a quilt contest, but it was also going to be given to the first granddaughter, whose name is Rose. And as you can see, I've got roses at the points in this diamond, but I did not have the means to embroider that. So I reached out into a forum group that I was involved with and said, anybody out there that can do this for me. And a woman, and I think she was way out in California, said, "Yes, I can do it." So I sent her the fabric and I said, "Just space them 8 inches apart because I only needed a little room, but I wanted to make sure." Thank you, Gail. What you can't see is the not so nice part. Gail was mentioning that she thought the quilt was looks nice. Um, so I sent the fabric out and it came back and I was so disappointed. You can't see it in this picture. And of course at the time I didn't know what caused such a mess, but it was so puckered. In fact, as I recall, there was no stabilizer on the back, which, as we know, is probably what caused the puckering. Um, but I was so disappointed. I had no choice. I was on a deadline. So I used them. Of course, it went straight to the granddaughter because I wasn't going to submit it. But I thought, my God, I can do better. I love quilting. I just goes with that brain injury again. Quilting became a problem for me after the surgery. But anyways, so this is what started my embroidery journey, and I thought, I can do this. So I started searching around. I started searching around, and I found. Let me bring it up. Where is it? I found this. Of course, this is the 2025 website. The website that I had was much more primitive, and I was looking at this earlier, and it has many, many more features. Basically, when I bought this, and I didn't buy it actually, it was a free software. If you worked with a local dealer, you could download a key to use the software, which is what I did. And it pretty much had just three basic stitches: a running stitch, the fill stitch, and you could make a satin stitch. So it was all really, really a manual digitizing software, and it was not overly user friendly. So one of the things I decided was, I used this for a long time, and then I just got so frustrated with it. And I thought, there's got to be a better way. So I started searching and I started searching and I started searching, and I found um, artist, artistic threadworks. It's a Holly Pike. I don't, she's not overly active in embroidery anymore. Um, in fact, I've never really seen her name out in the industry except through artistic threadworks. But she taught Generations Plus. Generations Plus software was affiliated with the ZSK St. Louis dealership. I was always under the impression, and I don't know, maybe they said this outright, but I was always under the impression that it was affiliated with ZSK uh, production, the whole business, ZSK, but it's not. Bonnie mentioned that when I mentioned it to her. So, anyways, ZSK uh, Generations is no longer uh, being supported. In fact, it doesn't say when it ended, but yeah, and this was around 2011. Holly Pike, let's see, Artistic Threadworks. The site's no longer out there, but you can still Google Holly Pike embroidery and you'll find design files that she sells. Um, Many of them I've digitized. Generations price, it's no longer available or supported, which is probably an okay thing because it was pretty buggy. Um, that it would crash in a heartbeat. but you learned how to get around that. Things like, do you ever have a car that you needed to hold down the gas pedal in order to keep, even when you were stopped at the light, you had to keep the accelerator depressed even slightly so that, would the motor would still run? Yeah, that was generations. But now, they have a software. Uh, the software that they do support is called, where'd it go? Because I have it here. Oh, Intelligent Digitizing Software, IDS. And I looked at this one, and it has the exact same format as uh, as Generations. As far as how it works, I don't know, but it was it was a much more cost budget friendly. It was a much more budget friendly software, and it did a really good job. In fact, here, let me see if I can bring that up. For artistic threadworks using Generations, I digitized, and this is just a screen print from my files, my Generations files. I digitized over 549 files for Holly Pike, um, to post on her website. After I had been part of her, I had been part of, I had found the software. The reason I went with Generations was because Holly Pike, a live teacher, she did a webinar every week. Um, and then you also had access, if you had the software, you also had access to all of her past webinars, and you were able to participate in her future webinars. So we did all of that. And then, she decided to start an apprenticeship program. And she asked me if I would be interested. In addition to getting more detailed education, in addition to getting more detailed education, I got paid for my work. I got paid, and I had, uh, and in exchange for the education, my commitment to the apprenticeship was I had to provide her with 10, and she usually bundled her design sets in groups of 10. I had to provide her with 10 ready to publish digitized files. I would digitize the files. I had to test stitch them. Test stitching, yep, everybody believes, had to test stitch them. And then I would send them to her by FedEx, on her dime. She paid the shipping. I would send them to her by FedEx. She would critique them, and then she would send back any critique that she had. And then I would have to make my edits, retest, resend. But I got paid $5 per file for the files I sent. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $50 a week for um, my digitizing files. She provided the graphics of what she wanted to post on her site, and the apprentices did the work. And then she critiqued, and she published. So these are the pieces that I did for her. Some of the pieces. Um, but then there was there were some things happening in my life, and my father got sick, and so I had to step away. I couldn't meet my obligation to Holly, so I stepped away and gave up my apprenticeship, and spent a year That's fine, Frank. We all do it. Frank's listening while he's working. So I gave up my apprenticeship, took care of my dad, and then when I came back, um, my journey to being an outsourced digitizer started with somebody in a Facebook group saying, "Can anybody digitize this for me?" And there I was. I was still using Generations. I have a whole nother slew of files that I created using Generations. And where am I? Hey, Doug! Congratulations! I heard you got yourself another punch book, one with a autograph on it. Congratulations! Doug's here, everybody. Um, so yeah, I still working with Generations, but there were some things. One of the lessons that Holly was very strong about was um, the software is a digitizing software. It is not an editing software. Digitizing, not an editing. So, with that in mind, I went looking for editing software, things that I could bring a file into and edit uh, a machine file. Let me clarify a machine file and edit. And I found Embroiance. I had the modules before I invested in Stitch Artist. I had the Essentials, the Enthusiast. My favorite is the Density Repair Kit, which I'm going to show you a little bit about. But what these did was it allowed me to, for example, Essentials allowed me to bring in multiple machine files and lay them and create a hooped uh, design set to put on the machine. Allowed me to add text, names or monograms. Allowed me to change the colors. I was working with flatbed machines at the time, Brother, um, and then I moved over to Vikings. But those are one color at a time, and it told you what color to load in, so I could do my coloring. And then of course, Enthusiast allowed me to cut a design. Uh, if I had a machine file and there was something in that machine file I didn't want, I could cut that out. I love that. Let me show you the design repair kit. I set this up. I set this up so you could see it. This is oops, probably help if I, there we go. Okay, so this is a design file that I did, not in Generations. This is for one of my current clients. But what I did here, so that I could show this to you, is I duplicated the red, these bits right here. So if I turn on the density repair kit, you know how sometimes you have a file that you purchased, and you're using it, but it always breaks that needle in that same spot. Odds are it's probably too dense there. And the density repair kit can show you that. Do you see all this heavy red here? All of this heavy red? That's too much thread in that one area. Yes, you can have areas where pieces overlap, and it might seem to be too much, but it's sporadic. Now, the next part about the screen is that if I hit this again, I can look. See, here's that one of those sporadic pieces. I can look and see where that is. And I know that it's here, so I can change that. Did you see that? I'm going to put it back. Yeah. Oh, probably went the wrong direction. Oh, it's not going to let me put it back. But the density repair kit, I love it. All of them, Doug. That's the other thing. If I brought in, say I purchased a file that was a DST file, but I needed it to be a VP3, a Viking file. It does not open native files, Doug. Here, let's see. We'll just go into save. These, and I don't know if you can see that. These are all the files that it will open. It will also allow you to save. If I had a DST file and I needed to be, I can do a VP3 file. All I had to do was do a, oops, cancel that. Save as and select the file I wanted. Of course, you need to put the name in there that you want, but you can convert your files, which was really important for me at the time because one of the things I had to do for Holly was not only save it in whatever file format I was using, but I had to save it in a total of, I don't know, 6 or 8 file types. DST, PES, VP3, HUS. There was a whole slew, but I had to provide her with a complete, ready to publish design set. Let me close this, Doug. And see, here's an EMB file. Oh my goodness, it opened it. I've had EMB files. Maybe it's an older one. Let me see if I can't find a newer one. All right. Oops. Yep, it crashed it. The newer one crashed it. That previous one was probably from a previous version of Embroidery Works or Embroidery. Sorry, welcome. But it's still an awesome set. And then, of course, I moved on to Hatch. And then ultimately to Embroidery Studio, which has become my primary software. Oh, let me bounce back because there are 2 other softwares that I have that I love using. Let me find it. Okay. Buzz Tools. Are you guys familiar with Buzz Tools? Remember I said with Holly's work I had to convert the files. Um, so do I. I have all of them now, Gail, too. I love the in Brilliance. Um, Buzz Tools allowed me to open somebody's files or open design files and then select them. Selected files, I can select whatever files I want and then convert them to whatever file format I wanted. Okay. Now I can do that in Wilcom, but remember I didn't have Wilcom then. And I'll show you how to do it in Wilcom here in just a moment. And the other thing that Buzz Tools allowed me to do is it allowed me to create a catalog. Again, those selected files, I could create uh, a production sheet of a set of files. And where'd it go? Nope, that's not what I want to show you. Come along, little doggy. Oh, there it is. It allowed me to create a production sheet for a set of files. Now, in Willcam, we can create a production sheet for one file at a time. But if I have a set of 10 that I need to put information about, need a thumbnail, and I need to know what the color sort is, I can select all of those files and create one PDF, one printout that will detail all of that. Willcom can't do that. And if it can, I don't know how yet. So, but here's the other software I want to show you that I was really excited to get. This is Cross Stitch Pattern Maker. I have a friend who big Freddie Mercury fan. So this particular software allowed me to create cross stitch patterns. I could select a section, select all the rows, and create in a color. It was not an auto digitizing, but I could take my pen and run a line in whatever color, and it would put a cross stitch there. It would put a piece there. This was one of her favorites. And this is done in the pattern maker. It allowed me to create cross stitch files. Now, let's go over to Willcom. Willcom also has a cross stitch files. It's this button right here. And I haven't used it because I find Pattern Maker to be so easy to use. But it will not let me draw a single line of stitches, of cross stitches. So I'll use the Pattern Maker. Now, we're almost done here. Before we finish, I want you to see how to convert to multiple files. It is much simpler in Willcom. These are just a bunch of generic files, right? So I'm going to select a whole section of them. Then I'm going to go up to this little Convert Selected Designs. It wants to know where I want to put them. And we're just going to just put them in here. Someplace that I can just delete later. And then it wants me to tell it what I want these files to be. They're all EMB files, but I want them to be an EXP, a DST, JEF, SEW, PES, BP3. So if I convert them, look at how easy this is. Preparing exports. Takes a minute. You know, I've been rambling here this whole time. I want to go back while we're waiting for this. Barb said she started in 2002. Did I get that? No, in 2000 with the software. Before that, I did freehand machine embroidery. Really? Started way back in the old days with hand embroidery. Yeah, I never had the patience for hand embroidery. I used to do a lot of sewing, but again, not hand sewing, it was always machine sewing. Not a lot of patience for that. But Barbara, we are we dating ourselves? Are we telling the world that we're old? Okay, not old, older. We can be older. And let's see. Whoops, I guess I ought to go back up here and undo this. And Frank had one here. Frank started with and I never get this right. Is it? I never pronounce it right. Um, but was too long-winded and boring. Traded it in for Wilcom, Hatch, and then DE. Yeah, some of those softwares are hard. Look at this. We're all done. All of our files have been created for all of the files we checked. Where did we put those again? Oh, OneDrive and scans. Let's go look them up. Scans. There they are. Let's change the list. There they are, all those files. See how easy that was? That was amazing. I wish it would allow me to do a catalog. Maybe I'll put that, I will. I'll put that out there to Wilcom. See if it's something they can develop. Or again, if it is out there and I just don't know where to find it. All right. So people, that was my journey. That's my embroidery journey. Now, all of those softwares are still out there in one form or another. They're still out there if you're interested in getting them. I really strongly suggest the Embrilliance editing softwares, even if you have digitizing software. Um, there are some things those editing softwares can do that you can't get in a digitizing software. Very strongly recommend that. If you're just starting out, look for the Sierra software. Where'd my notes go? There it is. Yeah, the Stitch Era. Now, all of these softwares I have located and created links for them. Those links can be found on the YouTube uh, comments, descriptions. So if you're interested, just take a look on the YouTube channel for this broadcast, and you'll find links that will take you there. Um, you're welcome. Actually, Barb, True Sizer uh, is no longer available. Not in under the True Sizer name. I know that that Wilcom does have a software for to bring in so that you can do text and such, but I don't think True Sizer Wilcom is available anymore. I think that went uh, off offline a couple of years ago. So I a lot of people like the True Sizer, but I know that Wilcom has a different package that to set to that replaced True Sizer. Sorry, I had to think of what I was trying to say. All right, everybody, thank you for being here today. I truly appreciate it. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Uh, quick2stitch@gmail.com, or you could visit my website, quick2stitch.com, or find me on Facebook. I'm always around. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. Bye now. Fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quick2stitch.com for coffee and conversation. and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.